Welcome everybody to Mud Flood with Armageddon. Mud Flood was the Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you or me in a fair and honest, nonviolent way because it's been figured out not by the people who want to live in this world, who want to make this world better, who think they can make this world better. Uh, Christmas Eve, I did a show this morning. I was happy with it. I wanted to do more, though. I want to talk about the Lord all day. Uh, what I have going, is the third time. You can probably see the left side of my face has been swollen up like crazy the last 4 days. And I've had to, for the third time in my life, go on a very strict colloidal silver, just drink it like it's going out of style because it hurts. It's a massive infection. The first time I had it, this infection, thank you so much, Don. I was on probation. I had been thrown in jail because somebody from the VA wouldn't make a phone call to see that I had a prescription waiting for me, and they thought I was seeking drugs, and one thing led to another. But I was there where I was, digging for gold and finding that only thing I knew then was that the earth had been terraformed. It had all been changed. But with that foundation of sweating, stretching, and eating organic, and then getting a massive infection, needed to get a tooth pulled, needed to wait until I could find a dentist, took the colloidal silver, and it made it go away. And I was like, wow, there's something with sweating, stretching, eating organic. And if you could have a immune fighter like colloidal silver, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not giving medical advice, I'm giving religious advice about what happened to me. It worked. I didn't need the doctors. Now, later, I got gangrene, another one of the suffering for the Lord, helping a man named Reuben and his dog, degloved my finger. They left grass and dirt in my finger, so it got gangrene, and that hurts. I needed antibiotics. I didn't need their full regiment. I but I did need some. So there is that. That going along with everything else I want to talk about, how the people today think they're smarter than Satan. There are people who don't know me. They don't know me. They don't know I've been on the Hillary Clinton thing forever. These are pictures, from 3 years ago. I still thought they were Nephilim. I didn't realize they were Titans. It was always going to be the maps disproving the hollow earth. Everything was about fulfilling the vision that came, exposing Trump when he was running with the Q. Knowing about Tartaria is not salvation. The It's all, a part of history now. So this morning I wake up and I'm going through my thing. I do the videos and there's a DMSO, something I never heard about. Prison studies. Well, I'm interested in prison studies. Go, Red.
Summary. Researchers wanted to test the toxicity levels of DMSO. In 1967 and 1968, they ran two different trials where the volunteers were basically slathered head to toe with DMSO on a daily basis. The first study ran for 14 days. 65 volunteer prisoners who had all been pre-screened for any health issues participated in the study. Here's a quote from the study. The entire dose was applied in multiple layers and rubbed into the skin until it was completely absorbed. Complete absorption required up to 2 hours, and each man was checked daily before leaving the administration area before he could apply clothes. At the end of the trial, the volunteers had extensive physical exams, eye exams, a massive amount of blood work, and follow-up examinations for another 18 months. All data points were then compared to the pretrial testing and the placebo group. The second study was pretty much the same as far as the application and testing, but those volunteers went through it for 90 days and had comprehensive pulmonary testing every 2 weeks during and immediately after the trial. At the end of the 90 days, they also had spinal fluid and bone marrow samples taken. Those volunteer prisoners were getting somewhere between 3 and 30 times a normal dose of DMSO. Side effects included the anticipated itchy sting on their skin and the bad breath. Some also experienced some headaches and nausea, but I didn't find if these were shortly after the beginning of the study, possibly indicating a sort of Herxheimer effect, or if they were ongoing effects for the 90-day trial. The conclusion from the researchers.
They liked it. Wikipedia doesn't like it. So there's that. I said, show me the full list. I should have left a space there. Full list, and it shows list of Rhodes Scholars. I've got that pulled up. List of Rhodes Scholars. I'm looking in 1968 for Bill Clinton. He was supposed to, he won. You get to go to school for free in another country. Hey, look at Robert Reich. A lot of these people got to go to school for free. No, he's not there. Bo Jones is there. Oh, well, he is there. There's Bill Clinton. He made the list. That's good. You know what? I didn't know that he was on there. I was kind of looking for Hillary Rodman, Hillary anything, because Hillary Clinton Hillary Clinton was Rhodes Scholar. She was indeed. They're very proud of it. The former U.S. Secretary of State and 2016 Democrat presidential candidate was a Rhodes Scholar. She attended the University of Oxford, where she earned her degree. He has since become a prominent figure in American politics and international relationships. List of Rhodes Scholars. Well, I had that pulled up, and I searched for Hillary, and I didn't get anything. That's how you spell her name. Was Hillary? What? Not a Rhodes Scholar, but her husband was? Now how come it's saying she was that she wasn't? Hillary Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar. She attended it where she earned her degree. There's a lot of confusion surrounding this woman. Hillary Clinton decided to receive an honorary degree where her husband went. But for years and years, everybody thought that her and Bill attended Oxford University on Rhodes Scholars. They got a trip to Russia where they were caught in very compromising sexual situations. Blackmail was a big deal, still is. They became tools of everything. And, they led us to believe that they were having sex and hanging out together because they found each other's chemistry irresistible. And, hey, I get it. No, I'm kidding. I don't. Not a Rhodes Scholar. No wonder she's not on the list. But there is a lot of confusion. Hillary Clinton in her prime. Oh, hey, Hillary Clinton in college, she was a Goldwater girl. She went to Washington as a Goldwater girl, started working on the Watergate investigation, met Bill Clinton, changed sides, realized, oh my goodness, he's the bad guy. Goldwater, Barry Goldwater, the Republican who cast the deciding vote for abortion in 1972 with the Susan Hughes, the judge that LBJ made the first woman judge in Texas, and then he had her on the plane when he was sworn in as the president. Goldwater girl. Where's your picture with your Goldwater? I saw it. There, Goldwater girls. Naked capitalism. That is not Hillary Clinton. Hillary Rodham Goldwater. There she is. Look at that. Austin Community College. It's a protective site. Well, I don't have that password, but any more images of it? It's on that page. It's on this page. By crikey, look at that's my man. In your heart, you know he's right. Don't don't pick it. So anyway, lot of confusion about the Hillary Clinton thing. Couldn't get it. Maybe I'll come back to that. But this is an interesting little uh, ditty. Am I sharing the screen? Yep. Look at this guy here. Have you guys seen this? From $20 to 75, and this I've watched this guy. I've seen. I mean, I couldn't believe it when it went to 30.
Maybe so, but when I look back to maybe 2 years ago, maybe not even, where the ratio was 120 to 1 on gold and silver, and now it's half of that. So it's definitely heading in the right direction if you're playing the ratios.
Yeah, I think it would be profitable for sure to do the trade, but I think if I wait a little longer, I think silver could go up more and it might be even more profitable.
Of course.
Well, I think you did really well when you did your trade. You did trade that ounce of gold for some silver.
I know.
Yeah, kudos to you.
I will definitely have to trade it back at some point, but I'm waiting for the ratio to get down to like 50.
50, yeah. That would be nice.
Isn't that crazy to say though?
Yeah, I mean, it's wild because you
So
guys,
some people are he's going to get a, if you know how to do it, I guess you can get a free piece of gold. But what's it going to be if you go to the ATM? What is it going to be like if you go to the ATM and you don't got no power? you can't you can't blame Marsha. I mean Russia. That gets old pretty fast. But you have silver. You trade it into gold. You do this and that. There's no food in your pantry. You got bullets and you need a loaf of bread. So what you got a junk silver dime, you're gonna go down there and think you're gonna trade that and people aren't gonna notice, hey, that guy's got silver. It's going to be a mess. Nothing is going to go down like they thought it. You know, it's going to be a realization that you really everything is Shiloh, everything is owned by God. What do you have that you have not received? And wouldn't it be better to live in a place of love where it says as a humble meal with the people you love is better than be wearing if you're sitting at the table of kings? Put a knife to your throat if you're given to delicacies because they'll poison you with them. There's a simple life, and it's calling you. Silver, I'm not saying don't try to get a little silver. It's medicine.
To appoint a new Fed chief, and that Federal Reserve chief is going to have in his agenda lowering interest rates to get the job. So interest rates going down will drive the metals up. So that's another factor. And I think rates will probably go down every quarter next year. It's an election year. So you gotta expect the rates to be going down.
Yeah.
So all that fuels into, I think, more upward mobility. Maybe not a meteoric rise, but I certainly don't see a crash in the offing.
Yeah.
There's going to be a stock market. Something's going to happen. I want to see my algorithm. There'll be silver. There'll be Martin Zero. Looks like there's a little Jimmy Dore. Hey, weird Christmas. Nobody's watching on my backup channel. Eternal Blessing still down there. Look at SoCash. That guy is he's a workhorse. This making these canal locks. I watched a thing about, they have to repair these things. This is an honest to goodness. And Martin Zero, he's a gift that just kept giving. That whole Manchester thing. Look how much work goes into making a canal lock. Now that the reconstruction's on.
Rock. It's near Wakefield, and as you can see from the balance beam on top, it's rotting away. There's not much left of it. But what do you do if you need a new lock gate or need to repair one?
Hi, guys.
The grade 5 ones will actually be produced into a list, which then will actually come to the workshops. And then what we will do is we will go out and measure and survey the actual lock.
I want you to know that when they were first doing, they didn't have all these computers and things, but they were putting together. And I'm going to show you a video, a picture later where the rectifier arc electric lights. There was 1 million of them in use, 1 million kilowatt hours. Everybody had electricity, and there was more than 8 billion people, I think. Every tree we actually chopped down.
We actually replace 3 trees. From here, we will go over onto the workstation and we'll set the gate out.
Do it. Look at that. Ooh, it's hard.
A lot of work goes into making each one as strong and watertight as possible. So with the main bars cut and assembled.
This is the same equipment they were using. Do you have a breakdown on your equipment?
The gates are assembled, pulled up nice and tight. These pieces here is our L plates placed on each horizontal piece. One of these on this side and the reverse side, bolted through and sandwiched up to make a nice tight fit. The metal bars are what we call a tie bar. This enables us to assemble the gate nice and tight, and they just give a bit of extra strength for the gate to make.
Subscribe, link is just down at the bottom.
No, we want to see the finished product, man.
Rich!
That episode 66 was not the best one if you want to see it. But they have to keep making these gates every 20 years, and they're a set-up factory that, has to do it. Stargate. How are they built? Not the best. I want to look at my algorithms some more. Trump defends Clinton. How dare he? Trashing the low-life Massey. What is this massive chamber for? Martin Zero. My algorithm thinks I can't do without him. Watch, if I go down to the bottom, it'll all be Martin Zero. There you go. Prove me wrong. Martin Zero. Martin Zero. Martin Zero. Any more Martin Zero? Once you get hooked up, once you watch something a few times, it's like they think, and then I guess I'm feeding the beast. Go. Show me something, Martin.
There. Look at the edge there. We've got an edge in. And Roy says we're at the bottom of the shaft, are we?
Shaft?
Yeah.
Now come in, you need to film this.
Right, I'll come in now.
Well,
we didn't expect to be finding this today.
wow.
How high is it?
Not that high.
Wow.
I'll keep it rolling.
Wow.
Just get the torch on or off. I'll turn it off first. See what natural light looks like. Yeah. No, I need to validate the lit.
These guys, man.
Actually water powered. However, at 1860 there'd been a drought and it forced them to move to steam. They must have been losing money. This is where the 30-foot Lancashire boilers were placed here. Now, about that time, 1860, a lot of places were now moving to steam and away from water power. I know Wet Earth Colliery in 1860 started employing water turbines rather than a water wheel. So technology was moving on.
You know, we looked at those water turbines. I'm telling you, I'm a fan. I don't. Not saying he's, you know, I want to witness to him. I want to show him my thing. But this guy, man, he's just crazy. He goes everywhere.
Hello, my name is Martin, and welcome back to another video.
What? What are you doing running around like that?
Keep going.
The water ramp. All sorts of valve mechanisms in there. And really black, sort of peaty water there, very peaty water.
Peat is a brown
And
deposit.
it goes up there like that.
You also find those peat moss mint in there. What's this highlighted thing? It's just everywhere.
Right. Walking on the moors is very nice, but this is more my kind of thing. So we're going in here, we're going to see how far it goes. As you can see, there's a big piping that you'll see when we get in there. That's this is going to be a pain in the ass to walk through because we'll have to walk to one side. 613
Martin
yards,
Zero,
561
everybody.
meters, and
He mostly works around the
Hello,
Manchester.
my name is Martin and welcome back to another video. So this week's video is a short.
if we zoom in, it says BRSA Club. Just there, it says BRSA Club. I'll do
BRSA. Sure, leave the
absolutely
safe.
empty.
Just leave it.
And apparently, the bar is through here. So we'll just go through this door here, and this is the bar area. So you would have walked down slightly to.
Why didn't they clean this one up and sell it to the yuppies? BRSA. It's somewhere in Brighton. The underground telephone exchange. Look at that one. Another Manchester abandoned area. Is that too
Thousands
loud?
pass by the vacant Debenhams store in Manchester
Vacant? Why?
city centre, unaware of the true beauty within the complex.
Probably putting the homeless in there would make it worth less.
In today's abandoned video, we enter the towering structure, hoping to find reason for its Grade 2 listing over the many floors. On the lower floors, where there was construction lights functioning, on a few floors builders were hammering away.
Oh man, everything found in the 1930s. After World War I. We studied that. That was crazy. You know what? The bathroom, probably a bathroom.
Architectural gem, much better, but perhaps an identical hall?
Having been to the one on the opposite side, I think I know what's going to be in here. Wow. Slightly faded and the other, but still just as nice.
What else we got? I'm gonna, we'll come back. We'll look at the algorithm later. I was looking hard for that Hillary Clinton thing, but they didn't have it because I guess she wasn't. We only thought she was caught in those compromising positions, but look at all these famous people that went to school for free. And they all did super famous things, We don't have to know who they are. We just need to know that you can just grab one and they'll be searchable. Animal trainer, huh? Way to go. I don't know. Oxford Institute. Who else we got? Where's a guy at? We'll look up a man. We looked up a girl before. It's all girls. This is all women. This is more of a women thing now. What about you? What are you doing, Emil? You're a recent graduate. Oh, she's a girl too. She works for those people. Hillary, not a Rhodes Scholar, was a Goldwater girl. Hillary.
I am delighted to have been an honorand today among a group of very distinguished women to receive honorary degrees. So I'm very humbled to be in their company and, very delighted to have this honorary degree. Being in the midst of...
This is what she doesn't do when she's not going to spirit cooking things and dreaming about, this is my opinion again, but I do believe there's evidence that she's one of those adrenochrome, maybe even cook 'em, eat 'em type of girls.
A community that values evidence and facts and experience. It was a thrilling day.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Everybody told me it was, and it really is. And the ceremony was very beautiful.
It's all gay all the time. That's what they wanted the world to be. And now we have the idiot Donald Trump being like, it shouldn't be so gay. And everybody's going like, man, I hate to agree with that Lolita Express flying actor puppet. He's Trump. It's not good. Hillary, what do you got?
World is that people can look and say, oh, I could do that.
No, you can't, because you're not in their club. Algorithm. Hey, look, Jimmy Dore. He's funny.
Kash Patel said none of this existed. Do you remember that? He said there were no co-conspirators. They didn't traffic them to anyone. It was just him doing it to.
Yeah, but Jimmy, it's Kash Patel. He's a guy that always looks like he got caught, doing something naughty.
Himself, Jeffrey Epstein. Remember what Kash Patel said that? He spent years saying that we got to get that list. They're covering it up because it's powerful people. That's why they're covering up this list. We got to make it transparent. We got to let it out. And then as soon as he gets the power to do that, he's like, there's nothing to see here.
Yeah, but Jimmy, you got a hot girlfriend. She's saying she loves him, and he believes her.
So let me see if I can read some of this to you. It says, of the 10 co-conspirators, 3 have been located in Florida and served GJ subpoenas.
Grand jury.
1 in Boston, 1 in New York City, 1 in Connecticut were located and served. 4 of the 10 are outstanding, with attempts having been made. 1 is a wealthy businessman in Ohio.
Oh, I would check your NFL owners.
I wonder if he's a big political donor. I bet he is. A lead is being sent to CV. The remaining 3 are currently...
You're not funny at all today, Jimmy.
Said, they go, why did you give him such a sweetheart deal? They had like 20 or 24 girls saying that he had done what he did to them and then trafficked them. And they gave him a sweetheart deal.
Oh, you're being sarcastic because Trump's on the list now. And that's that dark humor.
Questions and removed evidence, for example, computers from Epstein's properties. And Leslie Groff, Epstein's executive assistant in New York, who allegedly coordinated travel and arrangements for girls. So that's just 4 of them.
Did you ever see much about this Nadia Marcinko? Did you ever hear about her? You got to spell it. NADIAMARCHENKO. Why would they think maybe it's this one, but it's not Gifford?
Yugoslavian slave. That's right, purchased from old Daddy-O. Now that's kind of a hard thing to
This is not Erica Kirk. She only looks like Erica Kirk.
Down exactly who said this. I've seen several sources of that information, and it's just been repeated by so many others over time that by proxy of how many people have said it.
Yeah, maybe I should have found a shorter one.
Was even ordering packages from Armani Exchange to the house. And yet Nadia was never arrested and never interrogated.
Not Erica. Where's the stuff where she's an airplane pilot?
Police did ask her some hodgepodge of weird excuses, phrases of business.
So they don't these girls they choose for their hotness and when they're late teens, they're not stupid. You could teach them to run a Turning Point USA. You could teach them to run an airline. You could teach them to fly a plane. Ghislaine Maxwell was a very proficient and rated helicopter pilot.
They sell you pre-existing marketing plans, help you design your own marketing plans, help plan events,
Is
tailor
this
ads for
about-
your audience, charter planes, set up booths for flight
Yeah,
events,
there
and sell
she
flight
is.
lessons
She's upside
59%
down.
off. And all the marketing, mind you, is for aviators and aviation companies only. See what I mean? A little weird. But even stranger is that Aviloop positions itself via its advertisements in a very disturbing way, to say the least.
You know what she had to do to get in that plane? She didn't care. She fit the bill. There were 1,000 girls they were bringing in that were willing to massage the men, but this one rose to the top. That's the story. It's not that she wasn't aware. When you're recruited, you're say the basic recruit. How does that go? From what we understand, doesn't it go something like, hey, I know this guy down in Boca Raton that will give you $200 if you get nude or partially nude and give him a massage. Boom, 1,000 of them. And the Meghan Markles marry into it, and other ones, Melania, who go possibly Melania is, who go through the process, they work their way up. But let's don't act that a girl who was living in your house doing what they do on the, from the time when do boys learn about sex now? That's when girls learn about sex now. What are they taught? There's no God. That's casting off the restraint to a place you don't want to go.
2012, there was a promo reel depicting their stewardesses wearing Aviloop uniforms. These uniforms were very unique, is one way to put it, and seemed like costumes in all honesty. Like something a hooker would be wearing for 15 seconds while pretending to be a stewardess. What is strange, though, is that it doesn't take a decade of detective work to notice that it would appear that Aviloop is not selling cheap flight lessons. But see for yourself what I mean, because if a picture is worth 1,000 words, these videos are each a book's worth.
Welcome to Aviloop, your collective buying website for anything aviation. We offer deals on flight lessons, pilot accessories, fuel, FBO services, charter flights.
You could buy this pilot if you had enough money.
And even small aircraft. Our deals are usually 50 to 90% off. That means whether you want to learn to fly,
They'll have sex with you. I just got to tell you the truth. That's what this was. Here's the cream of the crop, the talented girls, not the $200 an hour ones. They can fly a plane and have sex with you.
charter an airplane, or to see more girls like me. Aviloop can help. You can even vote for your favorite deal attendant and win special prizes. Our membership is completely free. Our deals are unbeatable. And there's no catch. So what are you waiting for, Captain? Subscribe to our newsletter and get in the loop.
Hi, welcome to Cole's Flight School on Aviloop.com. My name is Ashley and I'm your deal attendant. Anyone who claims that humans were not meant to fly never experienced the thrill of their own successful landing.
Gee whiz.
Islands, or perhaps Zorro Ranch itself, the one we discussed so long ago, it seems like. But that is speculation, admittedly, because there's something more important that we can distinguish. I'm going to play a few segments of the videos for you again, and I want you to listen really carefully to the background audio.
To your pretty green license,
with them, as well as impressionable young men and women who admire her and want to be just like her. This is the same chick who offers one-on-one interviews with her stewardesses, and fun fact, that is the longest word you can spell with only the left hand of your keyboard, stewardesses. But back to the topic at hand, the same woman offering those interviews and moan-filled advertisements is now being put in direct contact with impressionable children and young adults. I'm assuming you are seeing the conflict of interests here. Thankfully, someone archived this video for us so we can get a real example of the level of effect that Global Girl, quote
That's my
unquote, is having on
algorithm.
the
I get this
flying
kind of stuff. You probably do too. I was thinking about looking at that, but yeah, I like New West Reset. I don't mind giving him a couple of. I'll give him a thumb up.
Boogie Woogie Santa Claus, Boogie Woogie Santa comes to town each Christmas Day.
Look at that, man. Go.
Well, it's rock, 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 Mr. Santa. Chum, 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 Mr. Santa. No presents for your tree, no candy for your sock. When he starts to boogie, the whole town starts to rock.
Oh man. So this is a music video.
This song, we're gonna jump and jump for the Christmas morn. Boogie Woogie Santa Claus. Yeah, Boogie Woogie Santa Claus.
Would you expect a bigger crowd in 19? Oh, they're in the middle of a war. They've actually, by this point, remember the war started in 1942. Well, late December or December 41. Really got going in 42. Didn't really have any action till in 43. They went to Africa. It's all for a fake for the bomb. This is not that many people. Toronto is big. Explains the honkiness. Where did they get all those talented women? They could just hopping and skipping. One more of these, and then we'll see what else we got. I got to talk about the infernal machine. Don't get your hopes up. It's about Napoleon. It's not a real machine. It's some sort of assassination plot. Martin, what are you getting dramatic with me now?
Welly fail.
Oh, you've not had a welly fail.
Welly fail. It's pretty treacherous in there, even though it looks shallow.
Yeah, sometimes you fall down. Everything is rebuilt, reset. I'm going to keep this open. We'll come back to it. I want to see about this DC power, Mercury Art to thyristor HVDC valves, IEEE Power and Energy magazine from 2013. This is good stuff. They cannot get enough. This Thury system in 1890. Huh. I don't know. This guy did it? What were you doing back then? Working on a lathe? Belt operated? Oh, making electricity more compact than Thomas Edison? It's against the law. Oh, it's that mercury vapor. You got to put the mercury in the bottom and it gives off a vapor. You shock it somehow with a rectifier and boom, it lights up blue. Cool, man. We're looking to see it in action. Census gap, banker. I'm looking for the Thury system. Birth of the tube. Look at that, a pump rifle. They're good. Really? Okay. You gonna be that way? Take that. Showed them, huh?
Century. So it was actually designed by a French engineer by name Tari. Tari is the name of the French engineer who designed this. So what does this system contain? Actually, this system had DC generators which generate power in series. DC generators connected in series. So all the armatures of many DC generators are connected in series. Now the purpose is to get a high voltage. So for transmission, we need high voltage. See, the main limitation of DC, of course, why we went to AC is, AC provided a means to transform the voltage from a lower value to a higher value using transformers. That was the reason we went from DC to AC. So there were some parallel developments in DC also, in Europe especially. So if I connect many DC generators in series, then I get a high voltage. Then at the consumption end also, I have many DC motors which are connected in series. And then these DC motors actually drive generators which can be used for consumption. So this was one system which was popular in Europe for some time, but this didn't last long because
I'm thinking Manchester.
mercury arc valve. Only in 1972.
So I guess we can put that in context of what we're looking at here. Now I thought I had more of that pulled up. Let's look at the infernal machine. I think I got here from a history guy. The infernal machine, yeah. Anyway, the history guy was talking about it, and it looked interesting. And it turned out to be the plot of Rue Saint-Nicaise. That involved Napoleon could go to sleep. Now, the idea of Freud believed that Napoleon's dream was an alarm clock dream. That seems like, why is fraud getting mixed up in this? The guy that is all about, you're subconsciously in love with your mom and you're fixated on your penis for your whole life. Sigmund Freud believed Napoleon's dream was an alarm clock dream, which he described as a way for him to maintain his sleep and for prevent being disturbed by external noises. Freud thought, and everybody believed, that Napoleon had a fantasy of the Tagliamento River battle, which was revived by an assassination attempt. And he believed that Napoleon wove the sound of the explosion into his dream. It was like, I couldn't believe what I was reading. I was thinking, like, why are they making such a big deal out of, like, what happened and why do they call it the Machine Infernale? Attempt on the First Council of France. It's Napoleon, the Mason who became the emperor, who, like Donald Trump, stepped into the people in the gay renaissance and said, "Oh, no, you don't." He told Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, and the other Jacobians who had tried to make it into a, free love. Well, it's what we have today. It's the people they prop up. Byron, Shelley, the gays, everything gay. Bonaparte came in and said, "Not today. You have to wait." And they did. Had to wait 100 years. So it was this conspiracy. They don't like to use that word, but they have to sometimes. Renaissance was still going. He was in power, though. One of the many royalists or Catholic plots. Though Napoleon and his wife Josephine narrowly escaped the attempt, 5 people were killed and 26 other people were injured. Where's the dream thing? What about that? So anyway, the plotter, Carbone, had made the machine infernal harnessed to a girl horse in a cart carrying a large wine cask. You know, they're well made, with a limousine drove it to the Port de Saint Tenant. You know, it was a Star Fort city. Things like this didn't happen. It was all new. This is really Satan getting loose, saying, go get after it, boys. You got to live up to that Gog and Magog thing. Look at that. Millions of people, millions of shirts, every factory, plenty of power, plenty of lights. Boom. What about the dream thing, though? The audience cheered when he learned he escaped. No, so it just jumped right into. They believed that he fell asleep as he was exhausted on the way. From their memoirs, 1800, French psychologist, there was no such thing then because it hadn't been invented, named Garnier deduced on his way to the opera, the exhausted Napoleon fell asleep. Napoleon didn't say he fell asleep. As he slept, Napoleon is said to have had a nightmare relieving a defeat 3 years earlier, when, it's why the Renaissance lasted a little longer. A drunken guy was driving it. While he had been dreaming, Napoleon, that guy, this guy, he had a powerful job. He was way up there. So there's no reason you should have a drunk man named Caesar driving your carriage while you are supposedly are exhausted, maybe not, fell asleep. He passed this place, somebody threw the bomb. Boom. Nice place. Bad bomb. Panicked, failed to signal, thus lost a minute or two of preparation, leading to grenadiers, lit the fuse and fled. The machine infernal, it was a horse pulling a wine keg filled with gunpowder, I guess, killing the teenage girl, injuring many others. Freud, so he believed, he didn't know, he thought Napoleon was an extremely sound sleeper. It made sense to everybody else in the world who reads about it now in their academic lessons. And so he extrapolated and wrote about the dream. From, this is nothing about this is from Napoleon. Freud thought that Napoleon had harbored a fantasy revived by the explosion. To deal with the physical stimulus, the sleeping Napoleon wove the sound of the explosion into his dream before waking up. He was being bombarded. They say Napoleon woke up crying, "We have been mined." Freud thought Napoleon, quote, this is what he thought, at last started up with a cry, "We are undermined." The first council wove the noise of an exploding bomb into a battle dream before he woke up. Freud believed they had an alarm clock dream. External stimuli. Napoleon could sleep on with a conviction that what was trying to disturb him was only a dream memory of the thunder, of the guns, of a long battle, of a commune. So anyway, they got the Jacobians. They considered them the far left, like we do today. We don't want to stand with Trump, but we don't want, why does the only thing Trump is on to now is that there are only two genders? Because that's the normal thing. And it's like all of a sudden, true Christians are stuck going like, well, yeah, I guess I agree with that, but does that mean puberty blockers are good? It does not. So it's the Jacobians again, Freud dreaming of a white Christmas. Alarm clock dream meaning. You can get your answers from astrologyanswers.com. 9 spiritual meanings of dreaming of an alarm clock. Biblical meaning of an alarm clock in a dream? Well, I would know if there's a scripture relating to that. I'm pretty sure. Where's the verses? Anxiety, okay. Bible meaning, including these involving alarm, deep in the spiritual scriptures. It could be a divine wake-up call. It could also symbolize the need for spiritual vigilance and readiness, akin to the parable of the 10 virgins. That's a girl who doesn't have sex when she's 12, 13, wait ever until she's married, unlike from what I understand. And yes, Bill Clinton started the fad when grade schoolers thought, what, oral sex isn't sex? I lived through that shit, and I had 4 children in that era. Don't tell me it wasn't a bitch. And I still don't appreciate those guys. Alarm clock dreaming, plot of the Rue thing. I looked at that. Get it again. 25 barrel volley gun. Well, that's the Infernal Machine weapon. Probably made about the same time. 1835. Really? That's the best picture you have of it? Boom, boom, boom. Oh, they probably just want people to think everybody was stupid. It's back to the Ezekiel thing. They're selling us a load of crap, and it's not enough for them to keep the best pastures for themselves, not us. They figure they own it, so they're doing with it what they please. They're trampling down the rest, covering up the places that Martin Zero and other on-the-ground explorers go to. It's not enough for them to keep all the clear, pure water for themselves. They got to put in the fluoride and other things that would, consider what the scripture would say. Must you muddy it with the rest with your feet? You got clean water. Do you have to send it downstream to the peasants? Because 95% of those people out there are not going to pay an extra 15 cents for a clean water. Water's free for now. And they think they're pretty smart. I want to check my algorithm again. What's going on live? Any weather reports? White Christmas at Mammoth Mountain. Special gaming, playing games. The Prepper Princess is wishing. The Pascal has the Santa Claus hat on. Trump goes full dictator, says the young man debating MAGA. He's about as popular as me, dude. New York. They want to make you a
can get down with so that there can be a pivot away from the European theater, away from economic instability against Russia, for example, and to focus more on Trump administration's priorities in terms of militarism, but also economic development and trying to, the Trump administration wants to make a lot of money off the Arctic, wants to make a lot of money And that is the point of Steve Witkoff, who is what is he? He's a businessman. He's a big businessman. So that's why Witkoff wanted to go early. It's not because he wants to see the war necessarily end, right? He just wants to see a cessation of hostilities that Russia can agree to. And that's what they've been trying to do this whole period, right? The United States has been trying to, since the Trump administration, to try to repackage a ceasefire in a way that can meet Russia's some of Russia's demands. And of course, it hasn't really led to any signaling from Russia that it would agree to any of these terms. But nonetheless, Marco Rubio is the exact opposite. I mean, he is not a businessman. His whole career is being a neocon. And so while he has taken the mantle, of course, and the baton to try to destroy Venezuela and Latin America, which has been his longtime career project, right? He's a big hawk, a big anti-Iran, anti-China, and especially anti any government that represents those who have expropriated people like him, drug runners. Narco Rubio is what he is. He's a drug runner, and he's a filthy oligarch who escaped. I mean, that's who left the country, who left. I don't know, what is he, Cuban? I don't know where. Whatever. He does not reside in the region because his family had to flee from being. There was attempts to hold oligarchs.
Daddy, wow! 45 minutes ago, he was saying this.
Now the blockade that Donald Trump is waging on Venezuela appears to be failing, actually. Sanctioned ships are still loading in Venezuelan oil despite U.S. blockade. This is from oilprice.com, citing Bloomberg. At least half a dozen sanctioned tankers have loaded oil from Venezuela since December 11th, when the U.S. escalated the pressure on Venezuelan oil exports. Loading oil from Venezuelan ports appear to have been happening in recent weeks as
And while they're doing that, everything in the world has always been, it's going to be Mud Flood with Armageddon is coming out. The pictures, I started taking these so long ago, and it's always been with me, let's just walk them down. Some of them, these are, in the beginning, hey, look, that's a clock. These are old pictures. I used to divide pictures and try to, see if we could see anything in them. Some people did. Been going over the map now for, 10 years. California, Manchuria, except I'm the one that told you the stones are crying out and they used to be alive, and that you can be building up gold, silver, and precious stones in your heart, in your body, because you can't carry anything with you. It has to be in you. God gives some people new hearts and a chance. And now the biogeology, that's another thing that God of creation has used this ministry for, explaining all of this from the beginning of, like, before I was even flat earth. I was watching those videos, Russia, and they were putting out the Tartaria, and that Fomenko had, hey, they added 1,000 years, and it clicked with me. Wow, they covered up Armageddon and added 1,000 years. And that other 1,000 years was the reign of Christ. I should reread Revelation 19 and 20, and I did. All these highlighted places, you had to be Roman Catholic to move in there. They were grants from Spain, Europe, Queen Jezebella and Ferdinand, who sent Columbus when the wheat and the tares were separating in the Golden Age past. It's always been the same thing. And, Lord willing, I'll have a chance to explain to you how, to me, this is a representation of what I did when I did the autopsy of a trilobite to prove that it was the midbrain of the average sized people of Noah's flood reserved in judgment. The fourth ventricle, hollow, going up, symmetrical, but they're not the same. You can see they're not the same. They're they're similar. And there's left side, left hemisphere running up, fountains pouring out. It's a representation of the brain. When I say I wanted to, you know, that led to doing a trilobite because it did. I was doing all kinds of, here it is. Took it apart, man. Carefully. Flipped it out, showed there's the perforated form. All of these things were, this is what they said was inside a trilobite. It matched perfectly the midbrain. But I needed to get the Bible straight. I had proved this, and I knew, Lord willing, I'll get back to it. I'll straighten that mic out. And is it coincidence that the Lord had RJ sitting in my recreational vehicle, my restored bus? Because we were drilling rocks to prove that the mud flood was Armageddon and the stones were crying out. They're representing the body because we're living stones, not because the Kabbalah is right. The spine is a sword. It connects to all of it. Our body is a temple, but it's physical. It's degrading. It changes. Every cell in your body is replaced every 5 years. If these are wireless dots, this had to be there, reaching down into this. This is the autopsy of a trilobite. It's the midbrain. They had to fake everything. Had to be like this. And they're there waiting still. Lord willing, my mouth will heal and I'll get back at it. I have one more semester. It's too cold to do it here. Here's a bit different version of that, reaching down into where these are the receptors for the wireless synapse signals. Clip that out. Knew it had to be there. And there it was, the other receiving part. It's always been about the stones and the Lord crying out. And, year in, year out, I had to just keep going, finding the doors. I made videos about it, always with one point of view. It's Jesus Christ, the creator. And he called me to start the Flat Earth Nation Golden Age Past thing. And I did. I did a lot of mushrooms. I feel they had a lot of misunderstanding. I know that's a swastika. In with the good, out with the bad. Everybody knew about it. This is old news to me. You know what's not old news? The price of silver is going completely crazy. Everything's going nuts. It's this Christmas. I think they're going to have another election. I think that the gays are going to make a pushback. It does look like we're in for some weather. Flights canceled. Look, they've been setting up Glenn Beck since they brought him on for no apparent reason to guest host for Rush Limbaugh. If you're not old enough to remember those things, we are, you can decide who you trust, the ones who want you to, stay in the city with your get home bag and your Colt 45 and your love for Erica Kirk and the way she dresses like a whore. So many computers.
The year is 1837. The panic hits. Banks collapse across America. Businesses fail by the
This is not a real person.
thousands. Unemployment surges. Real estate values crater. Some properties lose 80% of their value overnight. Most investors are wiped out.
And it's going to happen again because silver, and it was the fur companies, it was always tea companies. Then tea meant heroin, beaver pelts, probably meant pizza.
Called the Tonquin. The second, by land, would follow the route of Lewis and Clark, establishing trading posts along the way. Astor invested roughly $200,000, a staggering sum, the equivalent of perhaps $50 million today. It was not a side project. This was like betting the entire company on something. And then everything went wrong. The Tonquin was commanded by Captain Jonathan Thorne, a 32.
Wow, he looks like Tom Cruise. We're tired of that computer. I know you are. Took me a while. Boston's Forgotten Streetcars. How long have we been talking about that? Bodies found. What are you doing? Look at that. What in the world? How'd that get on my thing? Oh, I have a crossbow. There is a storm somewhere. Soda Springs, California, Christmas Eve, spinouts, jackknives. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad.
Why does the United States own a chain of 14 islands on the literal other side of the planet? A place where the currency is the dollar, but the biggest tourists are Chinese and Korean. A place where the residents are US citizens, but they can't vote for the president. Welcome to the Northern Mariana Islands, a distant territory most Americans don't even know is part of them, while also being a place the United States is pouring buckets of money into today. So what are the Northern Mariana Islands?
No, we're just printing more debt.
And what exactly does the US do with them? To get to that answer, we need to first look at the long archipelago that makes up the territory.
Are you a computer? Fire and stone.
Research secret tech like nuclear weapons and navigate diplomacy. You can forge alliances with other players or betray them if it fits your goals.
Oh, he's selling
They also
a
just
game.
launched a new other place in the Pacific. Roughly 4,000 years ago, the original settlers, who would become the Chamorro people, didn't just drift here. They navigated vast distances of open ocean. And when they arrived,
These were the people the Bible refers to as from the coast lands. And some ended up living with them, going there. They're smart. Geniuses.
they built a complex society defined by latte stones, massive limestone pillars with cup-shaped capstones that served as foundations for their homes. These stones still stand today, proof that a thriving civilization existed here for millennia before a Western ship ever appeared on the horizon. But in 1521, the horizon changed forever. Ferdinand Magellan, starving and desperate, sighted the islands during his first circumnavigation of the globe. The encounter was a
Man, is their history insane or what? An unsinkable aircraft?
They are clearing the jungle off the old World War II runways to create a divert airfield. The idea is to have a backup, an unsinkable aircraft carrier where jets can land, refuel, and rearm if Guam is attacked. After decades of neglect, millions.
You know what? What about that Hong Kong? Is they going to get attacked? Taiwan, Chiang Kai-shek. I really feel like getting into the Bible tonight. Going to be doing massive amounts of colloidal silver because I can feel that my neck is getting stiff. Ghost towns and mines, a wagon wheel. How'd they get that stuff in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever driven up there in this area of Oregon,
just
Washington,
spotted
Boise, Spokane?
Something really
There's no way.
Sargent Drill Company and the Rand Drill Company merged in 1905. And these compressors were most likely steam-driven compressors. Let's take a look here, what we got going on.
They just
Like
found
this-
it.
Like a
You can fix it up. You can make it work. That's an
insulator.
electrical.
Eased and frozen. And down here, this is part of the mounting for the drill column.
How much of a modern product wouldn't have been rusted away after 100 years? That looks solid as a rock. What I can't wait for is to see what the Bible will say, what the Lord wants me to teach tonight. I'm going to need a little more time to get some food in me, take care of here. I might be able to buy some burdock root. My address is that's my address. Oh, I want some burdock root. I want a burdock root. I want the pain to go away. Sometimes these colloidal silver, you know, that do a capful a day, you feel like I feel fine. You skip a few days, you skip a few days. The next thing you know, when you're been through what I've been through, I'll be okay. It's a flat earth nation. The golden age is past. The mud flood was Armageddon. Me and my friends never going to tell you anything else because I know we're called, chosen, doing our best to be faithful. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho, aloha. Ari, Father, Chichao, Sayonara, Avida, Saint, Nakame, adios, amigos from the border of southern Colorado and New Mexico.